Before we begin, just pause for a moment. Look at that old bottle in your trash bin. Now, imagine it becoming a panda that grows parsley, a fairy who watches over lettuce, a rocket filled with time. Welcome to Crafts Play, where forgotten things are given new life, one bottle, one paint stroke, and one tiny garden at a time. This video is a peaceful journey through 18 whimsical and practical DIY hydroponic projects, each made from recycled plastic bottles, perfect for small spaces, balconies, and curious hands of all ages. We've divided the ideas with timestamps, so feel free to skip to your favorite, pause when you need to, and comment with your own magical version of these crafts. If these creations inspire you, we invite you, gently, to subscribe, not just to support us, but to become part of a kind, creative, and growing community where trash becomes treasure every week. Let's begin. In a quiet corner of a sunlit backyard, something joyful peeks out from under the green. Rows of white plastic bottles, once discarded, now lovingly painted, smile with soft panda faces. Black ears, round eyes, and friendly snouts turn each recycled bottle into a character of its own. Some grin wide, others look sleepy, but all are bursting with tufts of mint and butterhead lettuce. This is the whimsical Bottle Panda Garden, a DIY hydroponic project where art and eco-living meet. Each bottle is sliced, inverted, and threaded into a simple system using string and a bamboo frame. Inside, water and nutrient solution keep the greens flourishing, while the pandas keep everyone smiling. Children love naming them Fluffy, Chomp, Nap Panda. The garden feels alive, like a bamboo forest where vegetables sprout joy. Every bottle becomes a story, every row a celebration of second chances. And beneath the playfulness lies practicality. Compact, low cost, easy to maintain, and deeply satisfying to build. Whether hung on a fence, perched on a patio rail, or resting on a windowsill, these panda planters do more than grow herbs. They grow habits of care, creativity, and conservation. From bottle to bear to basil, the transformation is magical. All it takes is some paint, a little imagination, and the decision to see waste not as garbage, but as potential. A breeze slips through the window and stirs the little green shoots. Many trees rising from rooftops no taller than a handspan. Each plastic bottle, once clear and forgettable, now wears a door, roof, and a pair of hand-drawn windows. They line the edge of a sunny windowsill or perch on narrow balcony rails, standing proud like a row of fairy tale cottages. Welcome to the mini cottage bottle homes, a tiny village where recycling meets storybook charm. The tops of old soda bottles become sloped rooftops. The bottoms cradle soil and herbs. Green onions grow upwards like chimney smoke, and parsley pokes out as if it's guarding the doorway. These whimsical containers aren't just cute, they're clever. Each planter is hydroponic or semi-hydroponic, using inverted necks to wick water or support soil-free roots. They're light enough to move, compact enough for apartment life, and joyful enough to brighten even the smallest kitchen corner. Crafting them is half the joy. It's an invitation to paint, to imagine, to slow down, to turn each bottle into a home, and each sprouting herb into a little miracle. Children can decorate their own houses. Adults can label their windowsills by name: Basil Bungalow, Cilantro Cottage, Mint Manor. And through it all, there's a quiet message. Sustainability isn't sacrifice. It's play, it's pride, it's progress made with gentle hands. These little houses remind us growth begins at home, and magic grows even from the most forgotten things. High above a garden bed, something cheerful hums in the air. Not real bees, but their handmade cousins. Yellow stripes, wide plastic wings, and smiling eyes dangle from bottle strings, swaying gently as the wind passes through. They bob, they hover, they catch the light like ornaments in motion. These are the Buzz and Bee bottle planters, upcycled creations born from plastic waste and a dash of imagination. Cut, painted, and repurposed, each bottle takes on the friendly form of a garden bee. But instead of pollen, they carry green gifts, basil, oregano, mint, sprouting proudly from their backs like nature's tribute. They hang from tree limbs, balcony bars, or pergola beams, turning vertical air into vertical gardens. Simple cords secure them. Holes at the base ensure drainage. Some float low over garden beds. Others fly high above the fence line. Wherever they land, they draw smiles and curious eyes. And in their joy, they carry lessons about pollinators, about the beauty of reuse, about how even a plastic bottle can help green the world. Children can paint them, name them, learn about the bees they mimic. Grown-ups, too, feel a quiet satisfaction in watching a waste item grow food. This project turns a garden into a storybook, a patch of land into a place of wonder. Each buzzing bottle sings softly to the wind. We were thrown away once. Now we fly, we bloom, we feed. Along an old fence that once stood quiet and bare, a new kind of neighborhood has taken shape. They smile, they smirk, they blush, they beam. Faces drawn on painted bottles, each with their own personality, blooming with herbs and leafy greens. There's laughter in their eyes and mint in their hair. Together, they line up like a welcoming party. This is a smiling fence bottle faces installation, a cheerful vertical garden that turns old plastic into a gallery of characters. Mounted neatly across the wooden slats of fence, each bottle has been transformed with a coat of color, a pair of cartoonish eyes, and a hand-painted mouth. The joy is infectious. Above the whimsy, real function thrives. The hydroponic setup lets the plants grow strong, roots extending into a clever water wicking system through the necks of the bottles. The faces watch silently as parsley, lettuce, and basil stretch toward the sun. This project is easy to recreate and endlessly customizable. Children can create faces that resemble their family. Adults can mark the names of plants on painted cheeks. Neighbors walking by often stop, take photos, and ask how it was made. It brings personality to an otherwise forgotten space. More than that, it invites interaction. It reminds you to smile back, to touch the soil, to water something that's alive, and maybe laugh while doing it. These bottle faces don't just grow plants. They grow connection between people, between creativity and conservation, between what we throw away and what we choose to love again. Some gardens whisper. This one giggles. From the old branch of a guava tree, a colorful crowd swings softly in the wind. Bright red, sunny yellow, sky blue, and lime green. Plastic bottles now wearing happy faces and filled with leafy herbs. Some look surprised, others grin with crooked teeth, and one seems to be mid-laugh. Each is a little character, a little guardian, a little slice of joy. These colorful hanging bottle characters turn discarded waste into a playful overhead garden, strung up with thick twine or rope. Each bottle has been cut, painted, and repurposed into a planter. The openings support herbs like basil, thyme, or tiny chili sprouts, while the base is shaped to allow drainage and light. Creating them feels like storytelling in paint. Eyes wide or narrow, mouths open or curved with smirk. Every bottle becomes a character, and every character grows something green. This setup works beautifully for patios, balconies, or garden trees with outstretched arms. It adds vertical dimension where space is tight, and energy where a corner might otherwise feel dull. Children especially adore these planters. They talk to them, water them carefully, name them, but it's not just about fun. These characters prove that recycling isn't dry or preachy, it's joyful. It's loud with color and life. It hangs from trees and dances in sun. And every smile painted on a bottle is matched by a smile growing in the heart of someone who sees it. This is gardening for the spirit as much as the soil. A reminder that when we create with care, even trash becomes tender. Down low, where children's feet often wander and sunlight dapples through slatted fences, a caterpillar naps. Not a real one, but a creature made from bottle and twine, soil and paint. Its smile is wide, its eyes curious, and along its back grows a lush mane of mint and arugula. This is a caterpillar crawl bottle planter, a gentle, crawling sculpture crafted from reused plastic bottles. Arranged end to end, each bottle becomes a segment of the creature's playful body. Twine wraps around to mimic tiny legs. The head bottle, decorated with a joyful face and bent rope antennae, leads away, always smiling, always growing. Each bottle is filled with a simple hydroponic or soil-based medium, depending on the gardener's preference. They rest easily on tables, patios, or low walls. And because they lie horizontally, they're perfect for spaces where vertical gardens won't work. Children love this one most. They name each segment, They watch the lettuce grow taller week by week. They giggle as the caterpillar gets hairier with every planting. For parents and teachers, it becomes a lesson in ecology, in patience, in the reward of tending. But even for adults alone in quiet corners, this playful friend brings peace. It reminds us not to take things too seriously, that gardening, at its best, is both responsibility and whimsy. Here, waste walks again, not as garbage, but as a creature of hope of rebirth. A caterpillar of salad greens crawling not toward transformation, but already transformed. In a shady patch of the yard, where leaves whisper and water trickles from a stone bowl, a dozen green frogs seem to be gathered, watching, smiling, and growing. They don't croak, they don't leap, but they do bloom. Each one is a plastic bottle, lovingly repainted to look like a bright-eyed frog. Round cheeks, wide grins, and googly eyes that seem to follow you through the garden. This is the Frog Pond Bottle Garden, where upcycled charm meets hands-on sustainability. With their bellies resting on flat earth or planter boxes, these frogs become tiny guardians of greens. Mint, lemongrass, and cilantro poke out from their open backs like tufts of wild hair. They sit happily in rows or cluster around a small pond or bowl, turning the space into a scene from a storybook. The hydroponic design is simple. Cut the bottle, invert it, allow it to drain to neck, and let a sponge or medium hold the plant above a nutrient solution. No fancy tools, just color, care, and imagination. Children gravitate to these amphibian planters. They paint the faces, they name their frog friends, and unknowingly, they learn about reuse, about growth, about how fun and function can sit in the same patch of soil. For adults, too, the frogs are a quiet reminder. Gardening doesn't have to be rigid or minimal. It can be joyful, expressive, bright green, and smiling at the sun. These aren't just planters. They're an invitation to play, to pause, and to care for something that was once thrown away. At twilight, when the garden softens into quiet hues, little guardians appear among the leaves. Some peek from parsley beds, others flutter behind dill stalks. They do not move, yet they watch. They do not speak, yet they speak volumes in color and shape. These are the fairy bottle guardians, magical planters made from used plastic bottles, now dressed as tiny watchful sprites. Each one wears a unique expression, painted by hand. Their wings, cut from transparent packaging or old folders, catch light like droplets suspended in the air. Within them, a garden grows, lettuce cradled like a fairy's gown, Thai basil like wild green hair. The bottles stand upright in the soil or tucked neatly into raised containers, forming a whimsical constellation of plant life and play. Children tiptoe between them, whispering stories of winged detectors who keep bugs away and help things grow. Adults smile quietly, remembering that the act of planting is itself a form of hope, a belief in what cannot yet be seen. The hydroponic option is simple. Water at the base, a wick or sponge feeding the plant, roots stretching down like the legs of woodland spirits. These fairies are not just decoration. They grow food. They teach reuse. They soften the harshness of modern plastic with handmade care. And in the early morning light, when dew clings to leaves and silence covers the earth, they remind us of something old and important, that gardens have always been places of wonder, and that even waste can be transformed into magic. When the wind drifts across the balcony, a parade begins, not of people, but of dragons, small, colorful, and full of life. They march across the railing with giddy eyes and playful teeth, their backs carrying basil, lettuce, and onion shoots like treasures. They are loud in color, light in weight, and proud in purpose. These are the Dragon Parade bottle planters, upcycled heroes of the garden, born from plastic and turned into folklore. Each bottle is painted with fierce grins or sleepy eyes. Wings are sculpted from bottle scraps or cardboard, and the colors, vivid orange, deep jade, sky blue, gleam under the sun. Children might think they protect the plants. Adults know they protect the earth, one reused bottle at a time. Each dragon's body holds a simple hydroponic system. Inverted bottles or soil-filled bases cradle the roots, letting herbs thrive with minimal space. The design is flexible, arranged along balcony ledges, fence tops, or even window boxes. Wherever they go, they bring not just plants, but presents. This project is a celebration of boldness and storytelling. You don't need expensive tools, just old bottles, leftover paint, and a free afternoon. Families can build a parade together. Classrooms can craft a dragon army for school gardens. But beyond the whimsy, there's a truth here. When we dress our actions in beauty, we carry them further. These dragons aren't just for show, they're for change, for growth, for laughing hands and curious hearts. Because the best gardens don't just grow food, they grow wonder. At the edge of the garden, where utility meets delight, something playful turns slowly in the breeze. It creaks gently, not from age, but from life. Bottles swaying, leaves fluttering, a Ferris wheel not built for people, but for plants. This is the Ferris wheel bottle carousel, a kinetic garden sculpture that fuses DIY engineering with sustainable gardening. Built from a recycled bicycle rim, wooden spokes, or scrap rods, each arm carries a small plastic bottle planter, like a miniature swing seat. Inside, leafy greens sway with each turn, bathed in sunlight as the carousel rotates gently throughout the day. It's mesmerizing to watch. A garden in motion, a living machine that doesn't run on power, but on weather, whimsy, and gravity. Each bottle is sliced open, filled with soil or hydroponic sponge, and hung by wire or string. As the wheel turns, every plant gets its share of light and fresh air, a natural choreography of growth. The design is especially efficient for tight spaces where every inch counts and invites learning. Rotation as a tool for fairness, light as food, care as movement. Children see a carnival in their backyard. Adults see function that smiles. And building it? Surprisingly simple. Reclaimed materials form the bones. Patience and curiosity do the rest. In the end, it's not just a planter. It's a story about cycles, about reusing what spins out of use, about making gardening feel like a ride, even if your feet stay on the ground. Let it turn slowly. Let it carry your seedlings. Let it remind you, even the smallest garden can have its own festival. As dusk settles and stars emerge, a strange glow begins to pulse beneath the garden leaves. Soft hues of violet and seafoam hover gently above the earth. Spaceships not from the sky, but from a recycling bin, now reborn as garden guardians. This is a glowing UFO bottle garden, an enchanting DIY project that blends futuristic design with sustainable function. Each plastic bottle becomes a tiny craft. The body of the bottle forms a capsule. A circular repurposed lid becomes a disc-like base, and a soft LED light adds a final touch of wonder. Inside each UFO, a hydroponic plant floats, its roots visible to the clear plastic, reaching down into a reservoir of water and nutrients. The glow from below casts shadows upward to the leaves, creating a dreamy, alien atmosphere that transforms even the smallest flower bed into a space-age sanctuary. It's the kind of project that delights both children and adults. Little ones imagine aliens tending plants. Gardeners admire how practical the system is. Clean, efficient, and compact. By day, the bottles are light and transparent. By night, they become stars landed among the herbs. Creating them requires only basic materials. Plastic bottles, clear caps or circular trays, a small LED puck light, and imagination. Whether set along garden paths and patio corners or mounted among potted beds, they offer both beauty and function. And as they quietly glow, they whisper a gentle truth. Even the trash we cast aside can become something celestial, something that lights the night, grows life, and makes us believe, again, in magic. On an old shelf, once forgotten in the corner of a kitchen, something gentle begins to grow. Little green beaks emerge from soil, pushing through condensation toward the light. They rise from clear chambers, former water bottles now sliced, inverted, and cradling life. This is the bottle cap seedling shelf, a clean, calm way to start a garden from scraps. Each clear bottle, cut and flipped, becomes its own greenhouse. A splash of color tops each one: orange, red, blue, yellow. Simple plastic caps reused not just as lids, but as a quiet visual joy. Like buttons on a quilt, they hit the growing shelf with soft cheer. The transparency of the bottles allows every stage to be seen. Root hairs stretching down, water rising from below, shoots curling toward the window. For beginners and seasoned gardeners alike, it's a nurturing space of observation. For children, it's a science class that lives and breathes. This method works without soil too. A sponge or cotton wick can support hydroponic starts, making it clean for indoor windowsills. No mess, no guessing. Just time, patience, and soft sunlight. And when the sprouts outgrow their cradles, they're ready for transfer to raised beds, planters, or bottle homes of their own. The shelf resets, new seeds are dropped in, and the quiet rhythm continues. What once was trash now becomes ritual. Cut, fill, plant, water, watch. A shelf becomes a nursery. A cap becomes a crown. And with each passing day, the smallest bottle gives birth to something wonderfully alive. Perched gently upon old iron stands and wooden shelves, they gather in silence. Birds that do not sing, yet still bring harmony. With wings cut from plastic and beaks shaped from scraps, these creatures of color and calm now cradle herbs instead of song. This is the Perched Bird Bottle Planter Garden, where sustainability soars on painted wings. Each plastic bottle has been hand-sculpted, carefully cut to curve and taper, then adorned with feathers, eyes, and cheerful colors. Inside, parsley, mint, or oregano rises like a feathered crown from the open tops, swaying gently in the breeze. Arranged in a semicircle by the garden path or lined up on wire cages, these bird-shaped planters add a sense of poetry to the soil. They are sculptures, containers, companions. The hydroponic system is subtle. Each bottle holds water and a plant medium, allowing roots to hang freely or wick up moisture. It's easy to maintain, making this project both beautiful and practical. Even in the smallest space, a flock can find home. Children adore naming their bird planters, Chirpy, Leafy, and Pecks. Adults are drawn to the nostalgic charm, the balance of whimsy and function. And in quiet hours, the scene feels like a fable unfolding in slow motion. More than garden ornaments, these birds tell a story of transformation, of reuse, of art made with what's already in our hands. They perch not just on poles, but in the mind, reminders that the most delicate beauty can emerge from things long thrown away. In the corner of the garden where stories seem to gather, a bench sits under the dappled shade of an old tree. On that bench, a row of quiet companions rests, white bare faces smiling softly, their eyes painted wide, their ears round and gentle. But these bears don't growl, they grow mint. This is the Bear Bench Bottle Herb Garden, a playful, heartwarming DIY project that turns everyday bottles into little guardians of greenery. Each container, once tossed aside, is now painted to resemble a bear. Snout, ears, black button eyes. Inside, herbs spill forth like wild fur, fresh, aromatic, alive. The bottles are lightweight and portable. They can sit on benches, window ledges, or even picnic tables. Their hydroponic or soil setups are simple. A wick from the base or a sponge insert supports root growth. And because each bear has its own space, there's no crowding, just clean, contained charm. Children treat them like pets. They give names, water them daily, and marvel at how much green can come from something so simple. Adults love the visual harmony. A tidy row, a curved seat, and a breeze that moves through mint and rosemary like breath through fur. The bears don't just decorate, they teach. They remind us of softness, of care, that even in a busy, often wasteful world, we can choose kindness in design, in planting, in action. To sit by this bench is to feel peace. To be among these bear bottles is to feel welcome. To grow with them is to believe again in the beauty of small things done with love. They greet you like old friends line up to say hello, some grinning wide, others blinking sleepily, a few pulling silly faces. Painted in every color imaginable, their smiles bloom beneath curls of green, a wall of joy, a garden of personalities. This is the vertical face wall with happy bottles, a garden that lives on laughter and lettuce. Mounted against a wooden pallet, fence, or recycled board, each plastic bottle becomes a face, eyes wide or winked, noses doodled in paint, mouths grinning or smirking. Above them, parsley, oregano, and mint burst in their heads like wild, leafy hair. It's a vertical hydroponic or semi-soil garden made not only for growing, but for delighting. Every planter is a character. Every herb becomes part of its story. The system works simply. Cut and invert each bottle. Create drainage or wick pathways. filled with growing medium plant and secure to the surface. Water trickles through, light shines in, and life begins. Children engage immediately, choosing face expressions, painting with care, watching their leafy friends grow taller each week. For adults, it's an irresistible blend of order and play, a wall that feeds, teaches, and smiles. In tight spaces, this setup is magic. On apartment balconies, classroom fences, or community garden sheds, it transforms a vertical plane into an artwork of life. It doesn't just save space, it animates it. The happy bottle wall reminds us that gardening isn't always quiet and serious. It can be loud with color, silly with faces, and deeply rooted in joy. In a patch of earth where magic seems to hum just beneath the surface, a village has sprung up. Tiny figures in bright rainbow hats, with soft white beards and paint-worn grins, peek through the herbs and flowers. They stand like little sentries, protecting basil and thyme with an ageless, cheerful calm. Welcome to the Rainbow Gnome Bottle Village, a handcrafted garden realm made from repurposed plastic bottles and a child's imagination. Each bottle is turned upside down or upright depending on the planting method. Pointed gnome hats are crafted from old plastic caps or cone-shaped cutouts. Faces are hand-painted with charming detail, rosy cheeks, sleepy eyes, and curled smiles. From the hats, green life spills upward. Parsley, coriander, mint. The colors of the gnome caps stretch in a spectrum across the garden bed. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. They don't just grow food, they grow enchantment. The hydroponic option allows roots to dangle gently through the neck, while a soil setup supports sturdier herbs for harvesting. Whether you're planting in a backyard bed or lining a patio planter, the gnomes bring spirit and joy to any corner. For families, this is a perfect weekend craft. For solo gardeners, it's a touch of playfulness in a daily ritual. The Gnome Village isn't just decoration, it's a world. A place where recycling becomes storytelling and gardening becomes theater. And every time you water the gnome hats and see the green rising skyward, you're reminded that growth isn't just practical. It can also be enchanted. High above the soil, where clouds drift and dreams stretch out like sky, a new kind of garden begins its countdown. No soil, no rows, just rockets made from bottles, aimed toward the sun, fueled by water and care. These are the Space Rocket Hydroponic bottles, bold, imaginative planters that bring science, play, and green living together. Each plastic bottle is transformed into a tiny spaceship, painted metallic silver or bold red, with triangle wings fashioned from cardboard or plastic scraps. The flames at the base, cut from orange and yellow strips, wave gently in the breeze. At the tip of each rocket, leafy greens erupt. Lettuce, kale, or mustard leaves form a plume of vibrant growth. The inside of the rocket acts as a hydroponic chamber. A wick or sponge holds the roots in place, and a nutrient solution is added from below. Some builders even paint tiny windows and astronaut faces on the side. This project brings joy and learning to rooftops, patios, balconies, anywhere with sunlight and imagination. Children adore the theme. Schools turn it into science projects. Adults love the clean, vertical efficiency and the splash of color it adds to otherwise dull spaces. Gardening like this feels different. It's not quiet, it's thrilling. There's movement in the design, motion in the metaphors. From trash to launch vehicle, from waste to wonder, these rocket bottles carry a message. Growth is not only grounded. Sometimes it soars. Beneath the sunlight, along the edges of a sea-inspired patio. The whales have come to rest. Not the kind that breach or dive, but those that cradle soil and spring with life from their spouts. Their bellies are round, their eyes gentle, their tails curled just so. These are ocean whale bottle planters, upcycle wonders painted in deep sea hues, shaped with joy, and made to bring the ocean's calm into any garden. Each plastic bottle is cut in detail by hand. Fins trace along the sides, tails sculpted from the trim bottom, and eyes painted with kindness. The bottle's cap becomes a whale's mouth or blowhole, from which bursts a spray of herbs, parsley, dill, or chives, dancing like salty sea foam. The design works well for soil or hydroponics. Inside, a sponge or wick draws water up through the bottle's body. Outside, the whale form brings a soft nautical theme to porches, patios, or even classroom windowsills. Crafting them invites a pause, a breath, a moment to imagine the sea. Children fill their whale gardens with stories of seaweed snacks and ocean rescue missions. Adults find peace in painting the soft blue arcs, arranging them in little shoals beside shells and sand-colored stones. And in each finished piece is a quiet promise that even something once discarded can sail again, that plastic, given care and purpose, can become a gentle giant, offering life, color, and a whisper of the waves. So let your whale planters swim across your garden shelf. Let their green sprays rise skyward. Let their presence remind you, every garden can have a tide,